Hope you're doing well. Today's video is going to be talking about UNC's Computer Science department, as well as the major and what that process is like. So I graduated from UNC this past May or June, I guess May. Hard to tell with coronavirus. Can barely remember when I technically graduated, but I graduated spring 2020, so it's fresh in my mind and I wanted to make a video giving a brief overview of my experience and what it's actually like being a student in the computer science department. UNC is generally regarded as a pretty good school. It's been top 5 in the public school rankings for the last couple years, and I didn't apply to Carolina with the intention of being a computer science major. I was kind of on the fence between business, particularly entrepreneurship, and computer science, but I ended up picking computer science. So UNC's computer science department is unique for a variety of different ways. The first of which is that UNC doesn't have any College of Engineering. So for that reason, computer science is just within the College of Arts and Sciences. There's no College of Computing, there's no College of Engineering, or anything like that. So it doesn't have its own professional school, which I think kind of weakens the department. Because, for example, Keenan Flagler Business School or the School of Information Science, they are professional schools. They have their own advisors. You don't have to go to the generic College of Arts and Science advisors. The computer science department does offer some advisors, but it's a weird back and forth because the College of Arts and Science advisors, they're not on the same page as the computer science advisors per se. But with a professional school, I also majored in information science and was in the School of Information Science. And over there, they have their own dedicated resources, and it's a much more individualized experience. In fact, there's definitely been numerous articles about the number of complaints that computer science students have because the computer science department has grown somewhat, but the popularity of the computer science major has well outpaced the growth of the department. And I think the Department of Computer Science is struggling to try and find solutions. I think they did play around with an application process to get into the major, but that was well over a year ago, and I think that's just been scrapped, and they're just trying to scramble and hire more professors to keep up with demand. UNC Computer Science has an Instagram account, albeit not very exciting and not many followers, but they did post some interesting facts and figures that I want to go over. So there's 336 undergrads, 56 minors, 11 master's students, and 13 PhD students. 27% identify as female, but I'm sure that number will go up since they're definitely emphasizing women in computer science a lot now. 54% are double majors, and I think that can be attributed to the offering of a Bachelor of Arts degree. So another thing that makes UNC Computer Science so unique is that we have this Bachelor of Arts in Computer Science option. And according to the website, it's intended for students who wish to combine the study of computer science with study in another discipline. With that being said, I know plenty of people that only get the BA in computer science, get normal computer science jobs, and it works out perfectly fine without pairing it with another major. I'd be curious to know how many people that do the BA actually double major. But I actually did the math. 40% of all computer science graduates are BAs. The other 60% are BSs. I was one of those BSs, and I really felt that getting the BS degree definitely prepares you better for grad school because you have that math and physics background. Something else that I want to note is that 44%, according to this survey, were a teaching assistant or learning assistant, and 47% belonged to a student club. This was self-reported data, so it's obviously sampling bias because the people that respond to these computer science surveys that they send out are people that are involved in the computer science department. But I do think that the high percentage of the teaching assistants and learning assistants is very indicative of how much they rely on students since it's so understaffed faculty-wise. The next thing I want to kind of talk about is the outcomes. According to this graphic that they provide, only 7% go to California and 13% go to the Seattle, Washington area. They don't advertise this anywhere, but within Sitterson Hall, which is the computer science department building, they used to have this picture up on the billboard, and it said average starting salary for CS undergrad. They didn't do it for 2018, or at least I didn't take a picture of it. I don't really remember. But for 2017, the average salary was $80,974, which is pretty good considering how few of the people go to the super high cost of living areas of California or Seattle. For UNC Computer Science's curriculum, it's definitely heavily focused on theoretical computer science. There is definitely some emphasis on programming and practical applications, but it's not a lot. So there's not a huge emphasis on actual programming. The programming assignments are never like crazy difficult. It's more of these, it's more of the theory and then some application. I didn't learn how to use version control or GitHub at all from school. I just learned that myself, and it's not really uncommon to only have one course per semester that requires any programming at all. There are no concentrations within the major, so I know Duke has a software systems concentration within computer science or data science within computer science. And Georgia Tech has something similar with threads, where each undergrad student picks 2 threads, like intelligence or something, or modeling and simulation. But computer science at University of North Carolina is just you finish what you're required to, and then after that you just have any elective. Most students start off with Java, though some students like me, I started off with a Python course, though I think they're changing that to the intro course being JavaScript now. But I would say the majority of the courses that I've taken require a little bit of Python, some Java classes, and then obviously for web programming, they do teach JavaScript. They also have one class in C, but it's kind of weird, and I don't really agree with this structure, but they teach Python or Java first, and then you have the class in C, so then when you go back in time to C, it's like, why am I learning this? And then after that one class in C and assembly, then you go back to your other courses, and those are in much more modern languages. So in my opinion, the order doesn't really make sense, but I'm gonna make a video later talking about the classes I took, the order I took them, and any thoughts I had about those actual classes. So in terms of outcomes, you've already seen the median salary for previous years, as well as where graduates end up moving to after they graduate. And as for my personal experience, I feel completely happy with the level of education that I got, though I definitely think the Department of Computer Science can do a lot better. It's definitely not growing at the pace that demand is growing, and I don't think a single professor knew my name by the time I graduated, including the one I TA'd for. Some of the faculty that are tenured are like dinosaurs, and they just are in those jobs because they're tenured, and they're just really old, and they're just teaching because they have tenure. But I'm definitely happy with my outcome, and I think it definitely relies a lot on the student to be proactive about what they're learning and how they're actually learning it, because with such big class sizes, you really have a decent amount of flexibility in there. I really had a very positive experience, and that's really thanks to the students. The students are very welcoming, and it's not a cutthroat culture at all. So it's not going to be like a school where students are like competing against other students for the best grades or whatever. It's very much like a team, everybody wants to learn together type environment. And there's such a high proportion of teaching assistants and learning assistants among the students, and I think that really reflects that type of environment where the juniors and seniors are definitely helping out the first and second years in their more intro level classes. So I've definitely met some really cool people, and I've really enjoyed some of my computer science peers, And I really wanted to emphasize that because I really don't think that I would have made it through many of those classes without having such helpful classmates and friends.